Okay.
Can you all hear us? Okay, we cannot hear you.
Can't hear us?
Okay, now we can.
Okay, great.
Okay.
So, welcome, Ms. Miller. And if you want to introduce your colleague, please feel free to do so.
So, hi everyone. I'm Gabby Miller. I'm the engagement principal on the audit. And with me is Thomas Putman, who is the manager on the audit.
And for the presentation, if you could share your screen.
Okay, awesome.
Of course. All right, and can you all see our screen as well, the presentation?
Yes. Yes.
Hey.
We can see like the notes part, Thomas, but not the.
Sorry, let me switch it over to the other one. Sorry, my bad. There we go.
Yeah, perfect.
Okay. All right. Well, apologies if we couldn't hear any of your former commentary or introductions. It went silent for a few minutes on us. So yes, if you had introduced yourselves, apologies for that. But yeah, my name is Thomas Putman. I'm the manager that was on the audit. And today we will be presenting the results of the December 31st, 2021 audit. So were we ready to get started?
Yeah.
Okay, great. All right. So today we will be going over the audit scope and process, the audit opinions that we issue, as well as governance communications that are required to be communicated as part of the audit process. So what we want to start with is just doing a little bit of an explanation regarding what all is encompassed within the audit and the report that we are issuing for you all. So the one area that's probably the most obvious that you think of is the report on the authority's financial statements. So this is the main audit opinion where we just give our opinion on the statements and whether they appear to be reasonably stated. But some of these other items are also included in the audit that we issue. We just want to make reference to them as well. So we do issue a required governance communication letter, and what's going to be in that letter is many of the items that we'll touch on today, kind of verbally in this presentation, but you'll be getting a formal letter along with that. We also give an internal management letter that goes to the management team kind of separately, just small commentary items, but nothing big that goes in there. And then the other reports that we issue are the report on internal control over compliance with major program requirements. So this is the federal awards opinion that we issue, which is the single audit essentially. The audit program that we tested for the FY21 audit was the Housing Choice Voucher Cluster. And then we also have the report on internal control over financial reporting and on compliance and other matters based on an audit of financial statements performed in accordance with government auditing standards. That's the actual name of the report itself. It's a long name, but that's the GAS report that's saying that because you all are a governmental entity and you issue your financial statements in accordance with GASB and then the separate auditing standards that go along with that. And then the last thing that we kind of do, or I guess kind of two-part thing here, is at the end of the audit and single audit, we issue a separate opinion that says what is uploaded into the HUD's Real Estate Assessment Center, the REACT software. We have to go in and say that we attest that that agrees to what we audited. And then also the data collection form, which is submitted to the federal government to say the single audit results effectively, the balance, the CFA, the report and everything there. We attest as well to that it was filled out correctly and uploaded to the data collection form software. So we do make this, if anybody has any questions throughout, please feel free. You don't have to hold them for the end, but otherwise we'll just kind of keep going with it in the meantime. So we also like to just explain that our audits are a risk-based approach. We're not like a sort of just off-the-shelf audit template that you purchase and kind of plug and play. Our audits are very much in response to what all goes on within your housing authority and how we sort of get through things as they go through, sort of what we encounter as we go along. So to go over that kind of just in a little bit of detail, what we mean is we start by doing an assessment of internal controls. So internal controls over the different audit areas, the different financial statement line items, the different program requirements when it comes to the single audit. And we look to see, are the controls operating effectively? Do we not have internal controls to rely on? Kind of how does it all sort of like relate to each other? We also have the significant risks that we have to look into, which are management override of controls, which is the risk that, yes, a control could be in place, but management at any point could sort of circumvent it and do something different. And then revenue recognition. That's just kind of a standard risk that we sort of encounter on most audits, but it's just, is the income statement, putting money in there too soon, or does it look to be correct? We also review significant estimates. So these are items that, when you think of accounting, you think of it as being black and white. Always there's an exact amount, but there's a lot of estimates that go into accounting. Certain things like, compensated absences and how much you estimate people are going to be taking when, or useful life of a capital asset. That's technically an estimate. So we review different estimates and consider that as part of our audit procedures. We look at related party transactions, anything with component units, things of that nature, to make sure that those are all reported properly. That's all sort of part of our risk assessment, and just some of the big areas there. So then the audit results, the actual opinions of the reports that we issued, you received an unmodified opinion on both the single audit report and on the financial statements. And that is the highest level that you can achieve. That there's nothing above an unmodified opinion. That just means that everything appears to be free from material error, appear to be reasonably stated. So a few other results that go along with that. That doesn't mean it's just absolutely perfect or anything. There were findings that go along with these, but it doesn't change our opinion. So on the financial statement, we did have a material weakness over financial reporting. That was due to the sort of magnitude and quantity of adjusting journal entries and prior period adjustments that were required in order to get these financial statements to appear to reflect the numbers as of 12/31/2021 correctly. And that is a finding that's been sort of repeat over the past couple of years as well. And then on the federal awards, there were no material weaknesses. So that is the more severe finding. There were significant deficiencies. So sometimes those naming conventions can seem, people kind of debate whether material weakness sounds worse than significant deficiency. But by audit standards, significant deficiency is like the less severe of the findings. We had 6 of them covering different compliance areas, I should say. The report itself identifies how many instances were within each of these. It was a few for each of them for the most part. Some of them were only like one instance, but HQS enforcements, waiting list processes, allowable costs, which is sort of just general disbursements in the program, eligibility determinations, PIC submissions, and then rent reasonableness determinations. We can, of course, go into any of those if anybody wants to know more specific details, or if you've all discussed them previously, that is fine as well.
And I did want to add here that a lot of those findings are related to documentation being purged. Since we are auditing all the way back to 2021, a lot of that was just documentation that could not be found.
And then, let me see, I think you're going to take it here, Gabby.
Yep. So next up, and y'all had no questions on anything that Thomas has gone over?
I have one question. What happens with the documentation that cannot be found? Is there a bucket that goes in, or how do you guys explain that?
So HUD allows us to, for our HCB program, purge our documents. And so what that means, we have to keep the initial lease up information and in 3 years. However, that is not in line with the audit because we're behind in the audit.
Right.
So a lot of that information was purged and not in the file because they were following HUD, you know, requirements.
Yeah.
And so some of those documents could not be found because they had already been purged.
Yeah.
Is that paper copies or?
Paper.
Like, yeah. How much is digitized?
We're working on that. That's one of the things that we're working on in 2026 because I believe that will help us, you know, because digital is always better. That's paper. We don't have a lot of storage. So we find ourselves purging a lot and put it in storage because we don't have the space here to keep the items. So we're working on it.
And then I did want to add, we will be following up on any of those findings in the next year. So we'll be reporting on if they were cleared and just kind of what the status are of them next year. And then I did also want to add that me and Thomas spend pretty much 100% of our time auditing PHAs. So those are pretty standard findings across the board. A lot of PHAs are struggling with inspections, kind of finding housing specialists to keep documentation and the proper documentation over eligibility and rent determination. So those are very standard across the industry. So next up, we just wanted to quickly go over the responsibility of parties involved. So biggest is you as the board, as governance. You do take ultimate accountability and responsibility over financial reporting, just making sure that the future and the mission of the organization is being followed and just kind of have that overall organizational oversight and strategic direction. Management is overall responsible for the financial statements and the fair presentation. So we do draft the financial statements, but at the end, right before we do issue, they sign a management representation letter, just kind of representing that they do read the financial statements, they're comfortable with them, and they do represent the numbers that they have internally within their trial balances. So management also does make the day-to-day decisions and are responsible for those internal controls that we test and making sure that the accounting policies are in accordance with government accounting standards. So lastly, us as the independent auditors, so we do have those opinions that Thomas went over earlier to make sure that the statements are have a fair presentation of the financial statements. I always like to say we provide reasonable but not absolute assurance. We are not looking at every transaction. We do have that risk-based approach where we'll look over the risky areas in a little bit more detail than some of the non-significant areas. As this was the first year and a little bit delayed, we looked at a lot. We looked at so many balances just to make sure that we were comfortable with them. They were supported. And so what you're seeing on the financial statements, we are confident that those are good balances that you're looking at. And then we also do get an understanding of internal controls. We do some attribute testing and some sampling over general disbursements and payroll, just making sure that there is segregation of duties and that multiple people are kind of looking at cash before they go out the door. And then lastly is our governance communications. These are our required communications that we need to discussed with the board. So we do perform our audit in accordance with general accepted auditing standards as well as government auditing standards. Like I just said, management does take that overall responsibility over the financial statements and those accounting policies that you'll see in note 1 to the financial statements. So we do make sure that they are in accordance with government auditing standards or accounting standards, also known as GASB. And then lastly, we make sure that the accounting policies were deemed appropriate. So next up is our difficulty. So as you know, we are issuing the 2021 audit pretty late. So that was some difficulties getting the 2021 audit issued from the prior firm, and then us just making sure that we're comfortable with the balances issuing the 2021 statements. And then Thomas went over the estimates a little bit, but the significant estimates that you'll see in the financial statements, the biggest is going to be that depreciation expense over capital assets, just making sure that the authority is depreciating assets in accordance with industry standards as well as their capitalization policy. There's also allowance for doubtful accounts. So we'll just make sure that any of the receivables that you receive on the financial statements are deemed collectible. We normally ask management on an annual basis for them to look at the receivables and just make sure that they are valid and that they do think that the tenants as well as the related parties will pay the authority back. And then lastly, you'll see pension liability. We make sure that a third-party evaluation, the specialist that prepares that calculation, that's reasonable. We saw no issues on any of those estimates when we were doing our review. And then just our other, Thomas touched on this a little bit, but we did have some prior period adjustments and audit adjustments just to make sure that we are comfortable with the financial statement. Any questions on this slide? No? Okay. So I think that is it. So I know we're issuing 2021 now, but we are going to get started and try and get the open items in our audit request to the team quickly to start on the 2022 audit. We will have to test 3 major programs. So we'll be testing public housing, capital fund program, as well as the housing voucher cluster. So we'll be looking at a lot of files. And then as we get as we go through the single audit and the major programs, we will then be waiting on the authority to be comfortable with the financial statements and the trial balance, and then we can get started on that part of the audit.
Commissioners, any questions?
Nope.
We don't have.
No questions? Okay. So I'm just going to just go over a few information just to point on some of the things that they just went over. Okay. So a couple things I want you to remember. We're finishing up the 2021 audit. However, we still have 22 through 25 that still remain. I would say with 21, we had significant, we're significantly impacted by COVID. We've had change in key personnel, specifically the CFO, and then we had a lot of vacancies, which had reduced capacity. So this, as they stated, that Clifton and Lawson is a new auditor of ours. The previous auditors we had for about 15 years, and then we had the Cone Resnick the year before. Our previous audits, were clean, except with the last 2020, and that was due because the audit was late, so it was a deficiency there. And we're going to continue to have that finding as long as the audits are late. We're going to get caught up though. So I will say with Clifton and Lawson, the new audits require more detailed and extensive documentation. Why I think some of the findings have increased is that in the past, items that they have considered findings in the past audits were not being cited. New documentation standards differ from historical practice. And then, so you may see similar findings in 22 to 25, because again, we're past due. So we touched on this, that HUD does allow us to have initial lease up in 3 years, and so some of those documents were placed in storage, and so they were not available to the audit team. But we have corrected that. We're not going to purge anything until the audit is complete. Okay, that's the new process now. So some corrective actions moving forward. We're going to strengthen our internal control and retention procedures, train staff on new auditors' expectations and proper documentation of files, Improve audit preparation and documentation processes. So we're committed to resolving findings and aligning with the auditor's expectation and changes underway to support cleaner audits beginning in 2026 and beyond. Any questions?
You guys have compliance in place?
No. So that's one of the things that we're going to put in place in 2026. We will have a compliance manager.
Any idea how long it's gonna take us to get to 2026?
You have any idea, Ms. Sterling?
I mean, if we're only on 22,
Yeah, well, my goal, we had a rough period. So basically when CLA was brought on board, I wasn't even back here
Right.
yet.
I remember.
And so, there was a lot of dips in when they could do stuff and they have to move over and do other things. And then it's like, when I came in and found that, items needed to be taken care of. And then, with staff, my staff that I had really weren't even really trained either. So, but we're looking good. 22, basically, as I've been dealing hand in hand with Thomas and Gabby, I already put most of the numbers into the HUD portal to wrap this one up, and then I can just roll our equity and start kind of doing trial balances and getting the 22 numbers underway. I still have a few little areas that I still need to check out and make sure that we balance out. We have a lot of the work papers aligned that we know that can just roll right over. So my goal, hopefully, if things go well, I'd like to try to do at least 2 a year. I mean, that's dependent on what Gabby and them, we've kind of talked about it a little bit here and there, but if we could really just keep this rolling, we might be able to knock a few of them out. It just depends on the other areas of programs that they have to do.
Because if we only do one a year, we'll never catch up.
We're never gonna get it right. So my goal is hopefully 2 to 2.5, 3.
Yeah.
Let's just.
So if
Here's
we
my
at least
curiosity.
make our goal at least 2 a year, we can eventually catch up.
Yeah.
So because these are required by HUD and we're just wrapping up 2021, it's not an issue for the feds? I mean, they're not saying anything? No,
Well,
no red flags?
no. Well, they're aware that we're
They are.
delayed. They're certainly aware.
What did they say to that? Did they
Because
just-
we're MTW agency, we have flexibility, so we're not scored, so we're not deemed a troubled agency because of these late findings. So we have a little bit more flexibility than what other agencies have that may be in a similar position. They may be, labeled as a, agency that.
Right, so
needs
under
further
normal
attention.
circumstances, you have to be on top of them.
Yes.
So, okay.
Yes, so since COVID, we just really just didn't get back on track, and so the previous auditors, we decided to part ways with because of the delays, and so we brought Clifton and Lawson on to get us through the finish line.
Well, that's
Seems
a
like
good
a good
start.
idea.
Yeah,
That's a
yeah.
good start.
Yeah.
Any additional questions of Ms. Winston on the audit? There being none, I thank you. The other chairman's remarks, I have very few. We did go out and visit Lexington Reserve on November the 12th. I met with the manager there. It is a phenomenal piece of property, an absolute phenomenal piece of property. We viewed some of the units, talked to the manager who's managing it, talked to some of the young people who are moving in. I call them all young. I call them about old. And they were there and they were eager to get in. I mean, it's a phenomenal piece of property. If you have not visited, when is the grand opening?
December 9th.
December 9th. Hope you can make it because it is absolutely gorgeous. Absolutely.
Stella.
They just slid up.
I have nothing else on that. Ms. Bryant, you have any remarks for us this evening?
Yes, I'm looking forward to the ribbon cutting on December 9th. So council was invited and many of us will be there, so that will be very exciting. Also wanted to make you all aware of a Thanksgiving giveaway that the city is conducting on Saturday morning. It's part of the Portsmouth Cares initiative. And the Parks and Rec crew will be giving out 300 turkeys at Fire Station 1, beginning at 9 a.m. You do need to have proof of residency that you live in the city of Portsmouth. But that's part of, like I said, the Portsmouth Cares initiative, which is aimed at giving compassion and responsiveness, empathy within the community. So please share that within all of your networks so that all of those turkeys get given away.
do we have the capacity to share that with some of our?
Yes, absolutely. I'll get that out. Thank
It
you
is
for that.
on the city's website and social media, Ms. Winston, but I can also email you the graphic.
Oh, please do. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yes.
Ms. Winston, it's your turn.
Just a couple of reminders.
Okay.
We have the joint meeting with City Council on Monday at 5:30. So I hope you all be in attendance. If you will not be able to, just let me know. Okay?
You said 5:30?
5:30. That's when the work session starts.
And there is free parking under the garage.
Correct.
4th floor, 6th floor?
6.
6 foot. Is it in the workroom?
Yes.
Yes.
If you're not familiar with the workroom, as you come out the elevator, if you turn right and just go straight.
Yep.
You go right into the workroom. I'm sorry.
No, that's fine. Again, Lexington's Reserve. I gotta get in the habit of saying it because I said Lexington Seniors, but Lexington Reserve ribbon cutting is December the 9th at 11 a.m. We have a lot of treats prepared for you all, and I'm sure you all will be impressed with Lexington Seniors Reserve.
What time did you say?
It's 11 a.m.
Yeah.
11 a.m. Formal invitations are to come.
Sure.
We'll begin our holiday break on December the 22nd. As you know, our annual holiday break for about 2 weeks. We have off here at the authority. However, maintenance will still be on call, addressing any emergencies, and staff will be checking emails and phone messages as well. And our PRHA holiday gathering will be held on December 19th, so mark your calendars. December 19th at 4 at Captain George's.
On Lynn Haven?
Yes.
Okay.
No, is that the correct one?
That's correct,
Yes,
yes.
okay.
Lynn Haven. For those of you who've never been there.
Last week.
Oh, last year.
At Lansing Road.
Okay.
Driving to it is a challenge sometimes. So make sure you get a head start. There's 264 going that way. If you've never been there in a while, it's a challenge.
You can always do VA Boulevard and then cut over. That's what I do.
It's still a
At
challenge.
that time.
At 4 o'clock, it is a challenge. Trust me. Matter of fact, at 2 o'clock, going to the ocean front is a challenge.
So we allowed our ECC, our Employee Contribution Committee, to determine where the party was, and that's what it wanted to be. Captain George's, so that's where we're going. And that's all I have to share.
Any action items? We have none?
None.
Geez, it hurts my feelings.
We'll have a couple of next month.
Okay, I'm ready. Any departmental update?
I'm sorry.
Any departmental update?
No, sir.
No action item, I guess we're down to, public comment. Do we have anyone who would like to speak before the commission this evening?
No, my question was answered.
Was it? Okay. See, I'm doing a good job. I answered your question. I'm kidding. I don't know who answered your question, but yeah. The director did. Okay. Commissioner comments. Commissioner Brent.
Given, and this is gonna sound an off question, but given the status of Norfolk firing their ED, is it possible, if it's all right with you, Chair, to get a copy of our hiring and firing policy for review from, I know that I was on the committee, but I don't remember initially, but part of the issue that made the news was that City Council, no one was abreast of what they were gonna do. So I just wanna make sure that, heaven forbid, anything that we do is above board.
Okay, so you're asking for.
Whatever our SOP or HR policy is in regards to us with hiring and firing of our ED.
So if you want to comment on that, but I'm going to say, the bylaws would dictate that as well, so I can provide copies of the bylaws.
That's all. I just want to make sure that we're abreast to that because, before I got here, we were in the news. I, just would like us not to be in the news anymore. That's all.
I don't plan on us being on the news.
Well, the reality is we do the best we can. And if there's someone who doesn't like it, fine.
Yeah, again, before I got here, we were in the news, and Norfolk's now in the news. I just want to make sure that we are.
Matter of fact, I remember when the city council fired the whole commission.
Yeah, that's what I'm just saying.
And I don't think anybody cried out going out the door. Okay, no problem. Anything else?
That's it for me.
Okay. Ms. Morgan?
Nothing.
Okay. Mr. Webb?
No comment.
Ms. Wicks?
No, sir.
Good seeing you.
Thank you. Good to be seen.
Hey, isn't that the truth?
Happy Thanksgiving, everybody. I'm sure I won't see you guys before then.
Ms. Carter?
Just to talk about the event with, it was NAACP, what was it, the last event we went to with,
Oh, the gala?
speaker.
The gala?
The gala, yes.
That was nice, I like, Jamal Bryan, he definitely had you, pumped and ready to do something.
Yes.
It's
It
a
was
good
really
event,
nice.
And I
yeah.
did.
Yes,
Yeah, you did.
I'm glad.
I scanned the bar.
We did too, yeah, so it was
The
a
meeting
good event.
Saturday.
It's a nice.
It's this Saturday?
Yeah, the NAACP meeting is this Saturday.
Is this her?
This Saturday? At New Bethel.
Ooh, let me check the calendar then.
But yeah, it was a good event.
Hmm.
It was a nice
It
event.
was awesome.
It was really,
Yeah, it's powerful.
one of our best, I must say.
Gee, I missed it.
Yeah, it was nice.
Gee.
You were there. You were there. We're talking about the Freedom Fund
The
Gala.
Freedom Fund Gala. Oh, okay.
You thought it was another one?
Oh, I thought it was another one I missed. I thought you said this. Oh,
Oh,
okay.
the
No, the
Freedom
Freedom
Fund
Fund Gala. Yeah. He did an excellent job. As a matter of fact, I was reading about him the other day. He asked the members of his church not to make contributions to the church, but to make contributions to food drives, which is absolutely phenomenal. You don't hear that often.
And on that note, there was an individual from here that gave for my food drive for Parkview. And I'm doing 5 families that I'm cooking for. Well, actually, there are 2 members that participated. And so I'm just going to say that it was I just emptied my house. People gave this year. It was wonderful.
Nice.
You had the event already?
I'm still collecting for up to Thanksgiving, but yeah, my pool table room was full.
Commissioners, any additional comments? Ms. Winston?
No.
There being none, our meeting is adjourned.